struggles, movements at the grassroots level that you and your organization are involved in to combat landlessness and the misuse of the commons, and your successes, the obstacles you face. And the second important question is, how do you think the activism and struggles against landlessness can be strengthened at the local, national, and the international level? Thanks very much, Mardha, again, and please, the floor is yours for 8 minutes.
Thank you. Thanks, Milonji. So thanks everyone for having me tonight, already 8 p.m. in Jakarta. Good day, everyone. So I'll be presenting the work of RMI, in which I have worked with the organization since 2008. Basically, we work into community groups. One is the landless peasants, and the other one is the indigenous peoples in Kasepuhan. Both are located in Java, beside other locations in Indonesia. But what I'm going to present is the ones living in Java. It is, as we know, that it is one of the most populous island. More than 50% of Indonesians live in Java. So what we are having is actually the landlessness started since the colonial era, 1870, when the Dutch colonial government enacted, it's called agrarisch wet, or something like, about agrarian law, which took all of the communities' land considered as state land, so that they can offer it to the investors for plantation, for sugar plantation, sugar cane, tea, coffee, etc. So long story short, the situation still continues after the Independence Day of Indonesia in 1945, and then we were going to have, actually we had quite socialist land law, it's agrarian law, but then another regime took over the government, so that until just only 2012 we had a very momentous constitutional court decree saying that the indigenous people's forest is actually not anymore state forest. So we had that momentum to facilitate the indigenous people's movement to get their recognition over their customary forest that was took by the colonial government back in 1870s. However, the process was not a very easy one. It started around 1990s, when also national parks was established here and there. So, and then another in the place where we work, it's called National Halimun Salak National Park. The national park was established in 1992 and was expanded from 40,000 hectares to 130,000 hectares. So in 2003. So started from 2003, the indigenous people's community called Kasepuhan community was proposing for the exclusion of their customary areas, customary territories from national park status, because they are restricted from accessing their forest. Before it was established as national park, it was production forest, so it was already state forest. As I said before, that it was state forest since 1870. But then they are still allowed to access their forest garden. Only when it was established as national park, they couldn't access their forest anymore. So after we facilitate like participatory mapping, action research. Also, we work with the local government to uh, to propose to the central government for the exclusion of these Kasepuhan customary areas, because when it was established as national park, the management is under the central government. It is not on local government. So the local government and also the indigenous peoples, they share the same interest. So they work together to try to get their forest recognized as customary forest. Yeah, but then only on to 2012 that the Constitutional Court decree says that customary forest is not anymore state forest. Then we facilitate the Kasepuhan community to propose for the recognition to the Ministry of Environment and Forestry. It was the first finally recognized in 2016 after quite long struggles for administrative procedures, in which if it wasn't with the NGOs or other organization helping the indigenous communities to propose for their recognition, it wouldn't happen, because then there are so many administrative procedures that they need to be fulfilled, also with all the profiling and etc. So that the central government was sure that this is really indigenous communities, and not they have to prove that they are indigenous communities first before they can be recognized as their customary forest can be recognized. So yeah, after that, since 2016, there are plenty of work that was done after the recognition, because the government was not really happy. Actually, I mean, like the Ministry of Environment and Forestry thought that releasing the state forest back to the community means that they are going to have degraded forest. Although so many data already state that local communities, and also indigenous peoples especially, is the best forest guardians. So yeah, in order to show, yeah, we have to show that after the recognition happened, then the forest will be there still, like what was before. So yeah, we did like detailed participatory mapping to match which one who managed which land parcel, and then we held adat is customary education for the young youth, indigenous youth, because before the recognition, they were ashamed to acknowledge that they are a part of the indigenous communities, because people thought that being indigenous is backwardness. So we also facilitate the biodiversity inventory, which trees are already rotten, which trees, which areas needs to be replanting, etc. And this was conducted together with the young people. There's also a cooperative established that is managed by women, which never happened before in Kasepuhan communities, because the patriarchal culture is so strong that women usually not involved in any public activities. But after the recognition of their customary forest, then yeah, there are collective awareness that more people needs to be on board. So this cooperative was given to the women, because women was considered as better in managing funds. And the cooperative itself is linked with the data produced from the detailed participatory mapping activities, and it asks no collateral and can be paid using the agricultural products instead of cash. Yeah, what we learned so far in this one particular community that we work with for their customary forest recognition is that yeah, the struggle over land is a very political struggle. So there are many times that we thought which one we need to pursue, like the momentum, because the momentum is there, or that we need to be really inclusive before we bring the community to the political arena. And what we also learned that elite capture is actually needs to be anticipated, because there are also elites that play very yeah, using their community to take their personal gain. So like
Mardha, can I ask you to conclude, because you've gone over it.
Okay, all right, okay, yeah. So what else is that we learned that the connection of young people from rural and urban areas is actually very fertile to build solidarity, and by introducing them one another, there are many things that happen to support the struggle of the indigenous peoples community from the urban youth, and both of the groups can understand, learn each other, and then they can see themselves from others' point of view as well. The last one is that working with the most marginalized one, women, the widows, etc., it brings significant results for the struggles. Thank you.
Okay.